Imagine a world where the ocean was the only bridge between empires. A time when the wealthy didn't just want to cross the sea, they wanted to conquer it. The year is 1907. Two men are sitting at a dinner table in London. Lord Peary of the Harland and Wolff shipyard and J. Bruce Ismay, the head of the White Star Line. They aren't just talking about ships. They are talking about a statement, a monument. They would build three sisters, the Olympic, the Britannic, and the one that would haunt history forever, the Titanic. The newspapers called her the Queen of the Ocean. They said she was a floating fortress, practically unsinkable. But while the public dreamed of velvet and crystal, a different story was being hammered out in the soot and rain of Belfast. For 3 years, the city of Belfast didn't sleep. 14,000 men became a single massive machine. They were building something so large that the shipyard had to be completely rebuilt just to hold her.
You have to understand the violence of her birth. Every morning at 6 a.m., the Black Squad, the riveters, would climb the massive steel gantry. They worked in teams of 4. 2 to heat the rivets in a portable forge until they glowed white hot, 1 to throw them through the air, and 1 to catch them in a bucket and hammer them into the hull. 3 million rivets, each one a tiny piece of the ship's soul. But history hides its mistakes in the details. Because the ship's bow curved so sharply, the massive hydraulic machines couldn't reach the seams. So, for the most vital part of the hull, the work was done by hand. And because the work was so hard, they used wrought iron instead of steel. It was a choice of convenience. But in the deep frozen Atlantic, it would become a choice of life and death. While the men hammered the hull, another fire was starting. Deep in the belly of the ship, in coal bunker number 6, a fire began to smolder before the ship even left the dock. It wasn't a blaze, it was a slow, agonizing heat. 1,000 degrees, pressing against the very steel that was supposed to protect the passengers. For 3 weeks, the Titanic was cooking her own armor.
April 10th, 1912, Southampton. The Titanic didn't just sail, she commanded the water. She was 11 stories tall and 4 city blocks long. Inside, she was a labyrinth of ambition. First-class passengers walked on carpets so thick you couldn't hear a footfall. They dined under the grand staircase, a masterpiece of oak and wrought iron that spiraled through the heart of the ship. Above them, a massive glass dome filtered the sun. It was the height of Edwardian elegance. But below the waterline, the world changed. Third class was a city of its own. Families from every corner of Europe carrying their lives in cardboard suitcases, dreaming of a new world. They were separated by more than just decks. They were separated by heavy, locked steel gates. This was the social engineering of 1912. The ship consumed 600 tons of coal a day. a small army of black gang stokers lived in a perpetual hell of heat and dust, feeding the 159 furnaces that kept the palace moving. They were the heartbeat of the ship, invisible to the millionaires walking the decks above. Everything was built on a scale never seen before. The anchors weighed 15 tons. The propellers were the size of houses. The ship felt solid, permanent. To those on board, the idea that the ocean could reclaim this much steel felt impossible.
The Atlantic was like a mirror that night. No wind, no waves. The air was 28 degrees. The water was even colder. For the steel of the Titanic, this was a death sentence. In 1912, we didn't understand that cold changes the very nature of metal. The high sulfur content in the Titanic steel turned the hull from a shield into a pane of glass. It was brittle, frozen, waiting. 11:40 p.m. The lookout sees it, but the rudder is too small. The engines are too slow to reverse. When the iceberg struck, it didn't sound like a crash. It sounded like a faint grinding. Passengers in the smoking room didn't even put down their drinks. But down in the darkness of the hull, the untold story was unfolding. The brittle iron rivets didn't bend, they snapped. The plates didn't tear, they unzipped. Because the steel was so cold, it shattered under the pressure. The fire-damaged coal bunker gave way instantly. Thomas Andrews, the man who dreamed this ship into existence, walked the quiet corridors with a set of blueprints. He looked at the water rising in the mailroom. He looked at the clock. He didn't need a report. He knew. The math was final. The Queen of the Ocean had 2 hours to live. As the bow began to dip, the grand staircase, that symbol of luxury, became a waterfall. The very shafts designed for beauty became the highways for the flooding ocean. At 2:18 a.m., the Titanic made her final sound, a groan of steel so loud it could be heard for miles. The ship broke in two. The unsinkable dream was gone.
For 73 years, the Titanic was a myth, a ghost story. Then, in 1985, a camera sled drifting through the darkness of the midnight zone found a boiler, and then the bow. She sits 2.5 miles down. The pressure is 6,000 pounds per square inch. It is a world of total darkness and crushing silence. The bow is majestic even in death, buried deep in the silt. The stern is a mangled ruin, a testament to the violence of the implosion as she fell. But the history of the Titanic is still being written by a tiny, invisible architect, Halomonas titanicae, a bacteria that eats iron. They are slowly turning the ship back into the earth. The railings where the rich stood, the davits that held the lifeboats, they are dissolving into rusticles. The ocean is patient. It is reclaiming the iron, the coal, and the hubris of 1912. In 50 years, the Titanic will be a memory, a stain on the sand, a shadow in the deep. We built her to show our power over the sea, but the sea always has the last word. The disaster wasn't just a collision with ice, it was a collision between a world that thought it knew everything and a nature that knew better. If you want to see the data behind the legends we leave behind, hit subscribe. We don't just tell stories, we uncover the truth. Stay curious, stay skeptical, and keep looking at the horizon. Because history isn't just in the books, it's in the steel.